Good day, everybody. My name is Jason Barr from Updox. We're here to talk about integrated faxing. I want to thank everybody for taking out the time today to learn a little bit more about who we are and what we're doing. To get started here, I want to talk about who Updox is in the industry and what our physician connectivity platform is all about. We focus on helping independent physicians, medical practices, and hospitals solve some of their biggest problems when it comes to communication and connectivity with their patients and other providers. So we focus on helping you spend less time on administration and more time on patient care. We help you focus on growth of your practice. We help you save money and improve revenue while accomplishing those first two, as well as ultimately enhancing patient communication and helping you protect your independence. So what actually is Updox and how does it help you achieve those goals? Well, we help you securely connect and enhance your practice relationships, both by helping you provide secure communications for coordination of care with other providers and other facilities. So we have integrated fax and we have direct secure messaging platforms. And we also provide online patient tools for patient engagement. So things like appointment reminders, patient portals, patient payments, online scheduling, forms, things of those nature. But ultimately, we have a very big audience of customers and faithful users. We've been around for many years, and we're very proud of the impact that we're focused on every single day, which is helping you spend more time on patient care. But today, we're just going to really talk about fax and get really focused on fax for just a second. So I'm going to start with, what are we doing with fax? Well, you see ankle biters, and you might say, what's that mean? Well, if you picture that little dog tugging on your pants and constantly barking at you, it's these tasks and these processes and these administrative burdens around the practice, these little nasty time-wasting things that distract you from thinking about and providing better patient care. And so we help everyone in the practice, both office management and the physicians. So for physicians, we're all familiar with meaningful use and the burden it's placed with us to manage reporting and compliance. We actually have a 20-year veteran on staff full-time that's focused on the latest from CMS, ONC, meaningful use, and all of the related body of regulations and how they've evolved over the last few years. And so we understand that has consumed a lot of your time and effort and a lot of the conversations that you have using your EHR. And we help remove a lot of that distraction from you from our integrated partners. Now, on the non-integrated side, we also support practices out there that don't use an integrated EMR. And you can see that on our website, who we're connected with and who we're not. Or you can shoot us a message and ask, and we'll tell you. But we also focus on, for the physician, and thinking about it from the small business owner perspective, removing unpredictable hardware functionality and costs. In this case, specifically those fax machines, fax lines, and phones that go up and down and cause problems. You have difficulty securing or sharing secure information outside of your office. So there are times when we know that providers will text other providers because ultimately there's nothing more important than patient care. And so we're not going to wait around for a solution to allow us to do these things. We're just going to get it done. So we're helping you comply with all the regulations, including HIPAA, to securely communicate with other providers and people outside your office, as well as securely message others in your office while you're on the go. So you can talk about patient information, you can review patient information, and you can do it from wherever you are. Now, for the office staff, we also remove these headaches because we understand that they really take the burden and the brunt of wrestling with all of the paper that consumes us in a practice today. I mean, can we believe that the fax machine has survived until 2016 with all of the other technology that's around in our lives? Our phones are basically smart computers, and they're not even smartphones anymore. And here in the medical practice, we still wrestle with a lot of paper because there's never been an easier way to be truly secure with that patient information. Updox solves that problem, and I'll show you how we do that in just a second. But we understand wrestling with the fax machine, printing, scanning, uploading to your computer, saving to your EMR, exporting from your EMR, printing the information, mocking up or annotating those documents, putting those in a box, putting those in a file folder, having them signed, moving them around. We get it. We talk to thousands of practices every month, and we understand the pain that we are focused on solving. Now, it's not just about removing the headaches when we talk about improving our practice operations. We understand there's common concerns when you're looking at doing something new. So we understand that trying out new technology may consume some time, or there's a learning curve, or I just don't understand how it might work. And so we kind of operate under the premise of when you don't have all the information, you fear the worst, right? And so what I'm going to do today is walk you through a very high level, very direct view of what Updox does and how it does it. And then if you need more information, or you work with an integrated EMR that we have, you can call our product experts, and you can talk to those guys about exactly how you've set up your practice operations, how you want to see Updox work for you, and they'll show you how it integrates directly with your EMR as well. Now, technology isn't the only common concern that we hear about. We also hear budgets are tight. I mean, ultimately, we're all out there running small businesses, and money is not an infinite resource. And so we need to solve our problems. If you're on our call today, you are probably at the point where this is such a headache that it's boiled up to the top, and you've said, we've got to be able to invest some time and energy in fixing how we control all of this information, make sure that it's secure, but make it simple. And so that's what I'm going to show you today, is how simple this can be. In fact, one of our customers said it best, is this is as easy as email. And light bulb went off in my head, because that's exactly how we didn't call it email for fax or anything, but when you learn how the inbox is set up and you learn how the information flows, it flows just like an inbox. So, a long time ago, we all got used to using email to communicate with one another, and all we've done is really digitized the fax communications into a web-based inbox for fax. So what you're looking at right now is a screenshot of our inbox. So down the left-hand side, you see the different folders, if you will, the inbox, the sent items, the archive, anything that comes across as spam or you mark as spam, your trash, and then some system configuration options. Across the top, you see the ability to compose, to look up information or contacts in an address book, and to refresh your screen. And then other things, I won't get into all the detail today. But then let's go in kind of to the center where you see that first blue bar. That is a fax line, and I've expanded it. So when you first come in your inbox, you'll see a bunch of different colored bars where you see that fax information. And it'll show you whether you have messages, faxed, fail faxes, or different things that interoffice communication messages that you flagged to take action on. And so what I've shown you here is, excuse me, a collapsed or expanded box that shows you the fax, the date, time stamp, and that you have 2 pages from this phone number. And so there you see it's to Updox Family Medicine, that's me, from Updox Family Practice. And then you see some options there, the ability to send that item, to comment, to archive, to mark as spam, or other options and actions. And so what I'm going to do is just zoom in here on this top level so that you get a clearer view. And now I can see the thumbnails. So here, this fax came over with 4 sheets. And I can thumbnail over those faxes. I'm not doing this live. I'm doing this in screenshot because it's the easiest way to do it with a big audience like this over our webinar. But you thumbnail over those fax pages, and it blows it up to the width of the screen. So real quickly, you can see what came across, what's the relevant information, what do I need to do with it, and where does it need to go. And so here I've decided that 3 of these documents I need to send somewhere else. But first, I may need to annotate or edit one of the documents. So what I'm showing you here is the ability to edit and sign your documents electronically. So where we are in the process is somebody has sent us a fax. It's coming to our inbox. it's come to my attention, depending on who manages it for your practice. Sometimes it's our single provider offices, and sometimes it's office management or office staff. It doesn't matter. You can set up the permissions and the visibility into the system the way you want to make sure that it's secure. But here, I'm somebody that's got the opportunity or the ability to edit this document. So down the left-hand side, what you're looking at is our widget tool that allows you to either type notes or numerical values. So we're all familiar with text boxes from the different office applications. You can freehand draw. So if I want to draw an arrow, if I want to circle something, if I want to double, triple underline something emphatically, I can do that just like if I had a pen in my hand. I can erase or redact information. So basically, this is white out for your electronic document. So some information comes across that you don't want to share with the destination recipient, then you can white that out and they can't remove it. Or in the reverse, you want to highlight some results or some information. You can use the highlight option. We also have the ability to do one-click signatures. So if you are a signature authority for your practice, you'll be able to press this button and immediately place that where you see that Katie Latchy signature line on the bottom. We've uploaded Katie's signature into this application, and when you hit that widget button on the one-click signature, you then click wherever you want that signature to land, and then you can move that around and resize it to fit your document as well. You can mark things with time and date stamps, and if this is a document like you see here, there's a checkbox that says generic equivalent authorized. You can actually go and put a check right there in that checkbox. So everything that you'd want to do with a pen or that you'd want to do with a free digital form, you can do now with electronic scanned fax, all within inside the inbox here inside Updox, so you never have to print any of your documents again. So once you finish editing a document, now it's time to do something with it. I either need to save it to my computer, or I need to file it to the chart, or I need to send it somewhere else. So if you are not currently integrated, or you're not on a currently integrated EMR with us, you can save this to your computer, and then you can grab that file and put that into the patient's chart. If you have electronic files today, it's the same process you're using today, although we make it far simpler to organize and do outbound faxing as well. Now, if you are integrated, you can send this right to your patient chart, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So what you see here is you see a subject line, you see a document type, which is a lab. So if this is a lab result, I'm going to mark it as lab. With our integrated partners, we actually read the types that are in your EMR. And then the provider here, I want to route this somewhere. So I've decided to say, hey, Katie, I want you to look, Dr. Latchy, I want you to look at this. It's a lab result. And if it's urgent, I might be able to put that where you see labs 2316 at the top in the subject line. I could put urgent or abnormal or something there that allows you to bring attention to the physician when he's reviewing his or her tasks in the module inside the EMR or inside Updox. We have providers use the systems in various different ways. And so again, if we can have a one-on-one conversation with you, we can walk you through exactly how Updox works with each of one of our integrated partners. And then finally, if you don't put in a date there, it'll date and timestamp it. If you are the provider, you have the ability to just click to sign. If you are not the provider and you don't have signature authority, then you will not see that option there. And then at the bottom, you see the attachments to drag to rearrange the order, add new documents, or make sure you understand what you're sending. Now, on the right-hand side here, we have a sending screen. So I scrolled down the page and in this screenshot, and I'm now staring at the box with the arrows pointed where it says search for additional contacts or users. And so if I want to file this to the chart and I want to send a fax out to someone else, I could just add the fax number or the name of the contact that I've saved in my address book, and it will search for those additional contacts or users, and it'll do both actions at the exact same time from the same location. Now, on the outbound faxing, there's a couple other things that we need to do on a regular basis to make sure that whoever is the recipient of the fax understands what they're looking at, where it came from, and what this is about. So this is your outbound faxing administration section. All again, it's kind of the same screen as you work through this. So here my subject line is Pippi Longstocking lab request. I've checked send to cover sheet and send as a practice. Then you see, as I come down the screen a little bit here, I've got a fax cover sheet pick list. So if I have multiple locations or I want different cover sheets to go on this fax, I can preload those, edit those, customize those, and then pick those depending on where they're going out. And if I have different templated messages, because I want to send standard different information about whatever this fax is, I can create different templates as well. So ultimately, we talked about saving time and saving cost. This obviously saves a lot of time over manual faxing because you aren't printing, you aren't annotating somewhere else, you aren't having to sign and then scan back in and then print again to put it into the patient's chart. It stays completely electronic. And all of these different options I've just walked through also save you little increments of time. And that time adds up, and I'll talk about that here in just a second. So kind of jumping back to the higher level, into the inbox view, we also understand that faxes don't always go through successfully. Sometimes they fail. Sometimes people ask you to send them again. So I'm going to walk through some of those here in just a second. So we walked through the folders down the left-hand side, and the first thing I want to do is say, I've got a fax that someone needs me to resend. They either didn't get it, or they are out of the office, or they're in a different location for whatever reason we hear about. And when they call the office, if it's a manual fax, I've got to figure out what I faxed in the first place. I've got to go find that information. I've got to reload it and resend it. Here I simply go to my Updox sent box, find the fax to the destination recipient, and I hit send again. It's that easy. And if the fax fails, the fax will actually come in, as you see in the top screen there, the top blue bar on the screen. It says fax failed. Just like, again, it's easy as email I said before. Just when an email fails and you get a notification that the email did not reach its recipient, when a fax fails, it comes into your box just like an email does when it fails, and then you can either resend that, you can check the number, you can do whatever you need to do to make sure that the information needs to go to the right place. All right, so we started early with this screen addressing common concerns, and we're kind of back to it. I think by what I've shown you, again, I said I was going to stay high level and give you kind of an orientation to our faxing solution here today. I think that whether you have a manual operation or whether you have an electronic faxing solution today, you can see some of the things that Updox has focused on and what we do differently and how we can help you save time. And you don't have to be super tech savvy. It's not a complicated system to use. It looks and feels like email. And so it's a very quick learning curve and ramp for your office to put this into production there into your process. So the next thing that we haven't talked about yet is budget. And let's address that here just a little bit. So I want to do that by first understanding what our options are to fix this pain point, this problem that we have in our practice, in our process, and how it's slowing us down and it's distracting us from patient care. So everybody understands this option. Whether this is still what you use today or not, we understand all of the expense that goes into manual fax operations: fax lines, toner, paper, maintenance, new machines. We understand that you have to be standing in front of the machine to use it, so its access is limited to only when you're there. You have to have a scanning operation as well. So some people have two machines, some people have an all-in-one, but they're doing multiple different things on one different machine to try to execute one simple process. And we've talked about the multiple different ways where we'd have to duplicate work or redo the same things that we've done before, and paper just complicates that process. We do understand that some people have a very thorough understanding of the problems of paper today and have looked at some electronic faxing solutions out there in the market. And there's a bunch of them. And they still have major problems when you talk about faxing for healthcare specifically and faxing integrated with EMRs. And so electronic faxing solutions are sometimes, and a lot of the times, very general to anybody that needs to fax. So it doesn't solve some of the problems that we have today in our industry using EMRs. And so you still have to print a lot of the information to do something with it, take action, and make sure that it gets to the right spot. It can be very difficult to break apart faxes by page, so you're overprinting and wasting paper, and then breaking up different information to send it somewhere else, and then putting it back together so you have the entire body of information to put it in the patient file. You have hardware issues with electronic faxing solutions. Some of them make you use your own dongles for the computer or fax scanners, things that just aren't necessary anymore in this digital world. Some come with contracts, upfront costs, and questionable HIPAA compliance because, again, when you're putting that information and pushing it across desks, we can put ourselves at risk. So how is Updox different, and what option do we provide for you to combat all of those different things to make it simple for you and affordable? There is no hardware. If you can hit the internet today, if you can get to Google, you can get to Updox. It's fully web-based. It's a monthly service, and we do that on purpose. We believe that software providers should provide such a positive impact for you using the product that if we don't provide that, you're free to go. So there's no roping you in. There's no making you sign anything. We keep our customers by delivering high service, high customized touch, free training, and free support as well. So what's the next step there to understand whether Updox is the right option for you? We have a free 15-day trial. It's a fully operable trial. Now, the trial's not integrated with any EMRs, so it's an opportunity for you and your staff, if you have staff, to look at the application, understand how it works, what are the features and functions, and play with it and get comfortable with it. And when you're ready to move forward, you can contact us. We'll get you registered. We'll get you set up with training, and you'll get a thorough explanation about all the different ways Updox can work for a practice, because a lot of our customers have very specific things that they want to do. And so we're constantly evolving and working on the product to make sure that it solves or fits a lot of the different workflows that offices have set up. And so the best way to really understand how well it worked for you is go onto our website and find the page that's accurate for you, whether you're in one of our partner networks or whether you're not integrated, and sign up for a free trial or request a demo, and then we can show you exactly how it can work for you. But HIPAA compliance is the last bullet there on Updox, and I want to spend a little bit more time reiterating. We have professionals inside this office that we meet with constantly that dictate how we do product development. So from a platform perspective to each one of our applications, we ensure that we are entirely secure, always HIPAA compliant, that we have all of our ONC certifications met, and all of the ones that are coming out in the future. We're typically looking about 6 to 12 months ahead as they're putting out information, as everybody on the call has probably seen or heard of MIPS and MACRA and the things that came out in the last few weeks. We're already very deep into understanding how does that impact our customers and our partners, and how do we evolve our application to ensure that when all of those things are in place, we're ahead of that curve so that you don't ever have to worry about whether what you're using meets the needs of how you're operating your practice. And so for the true cost paper fax, what I want to show you here too is if we're going to talk about budget and cost, it's important for us to understand how much paper fax can really cost a practice. And so for every 5,000 pages, we've done the math on this and we've studied a lot of our customers. Practices spend typically between $142 and $162. And we've broken that down there. It's toner, it's paper, it's fax lines. And then there's also a significant investment in time as well. 55 hours a month spent on, 55 hours on 5,000 pages. So if you're getting 5,000 pages in a month, or whether that's 3 months, this is relevant for everybody, because everybody does 5,000 pages in, probably a year, even on the lowest volume practice. but that's 55 hours of time spent where it could be better placed on making your practice better experience for the patient, better follow-up for the patient, better bill collection, better appointment reminding, just other things other than moving paper around between the machine, the desk, files, and charts. And so we've broken it down there, and you can quickly understand if this is something that you've done before, just how big of an impact this is to the people or the person who is responsible for managing that flow of information. Updox provides its integrated fax solution at a base price of $60 per provider per month with unlimited users. So that's office users. So if you have a 2-provider practice, it's $120 a month. If you have 10 office staff, there's no extra cost. And then we also have a fax usage component as well. And if you give us a call, we'll talk to you about how we work with your EMR or your non-integrated solution as well on that. And there's no setup fees. There's no training fees. There's no other hidden information. There's no contract. When you sign up for the trial, you'll see our terms and conditions, and it's a quit when you want type of application. And we don't have many people do that, which is why we run month to month, because we understand that if you're going to take the commitment to change the way you run your operations, we're going to deliver on our promises, and we do that. So right now we're running one current promotion for springtime through Monday, May 16th. If you go to our website and use the promo code BLOOM when you sign up, you'll save 40% off your first month after your free trial. So that's the first full 30 days. Our contact information is here in the middle of the screen. Our phone number, our email to our sales team where they can help you kind of walk through the product and understand how this could work for you. And there is our website. Actually, that's a link from one of our partners. If you just go to updox.com and then search at the top the solutions, that will take you to the page where we have listed all of our different partnerships. And if you don't fit into one of those, give us a call. We have hundreds of non-integrated partners as well in the thousands of customers that we've got. So I've got a bunch of questions here that I want to get to. Let me just take a second to read through these. Okay, so the first question here is it possible to upload multiple documents to be sent in one fax? Yes. So if it's in paper today or whether it's digital or not, you just grab the information that you want and put it, download it into Updox, and then you go through the process that I showed you today. So if you're also, that question can be interpreted a different way as well. So when I'm looking at my inbox, the one that I was showing you before, and let's say I have 2 or 3 different rows of inbound fax, and the first one's got 4 pages, and the next one's got 3 pages, and the next one's got 2 pages. And I want to pick 1 page from each one of those inbound faxes because they're all related to the same thing. They just came in a different way. I can check the box on each one of those rows and then hit send item, and it will pull those 3 specific documents that I picked out of the total of those 7 pages and put that in my outbound message. Next question here is, I'm not sure I understand the question. What EMR are you interface? I guess what EMRs do we interface with, and is there a charge to get set up? So again, if you go to our website, updox.com, and click on solutions there, it's the very first header link. Down the right-hand side, you'll see all the different networks or partners that we work with today. And so click onto that page, and it'll take you through the process of getting us in touch with you or giving you more information about what we have with that integrated partner or not. There is no charge to set up Updox with an integrated partner. We cannot integrate with a non-integrated partner today, but we actually are working on that. So as the industry continues to talk more and more about interoperability, we are also pioneering what some of you may have heard of as FHIR, which are the API connections, the ways that the software talks to many different platforms in kind of a universal language. And so we are looking forward to launching that hopefully later this year, early next, and that'll allow us to work with any provider anywhere with any EMR, because that's the tone and the intent of interoperability in our industry is allowing all that information to be freely shared and freely be used, regardless of what applications you use to run your practice. So I have a couple questions about pricing per page. So we actually have bundles of pages. So typically what you'll do is when you're talking to our sales team, you'll kind of lay out your volume. You'll talk about how many pages that you do on a regular basis. And then we have volume discounts. So, if you're doing 5,000 pages a month versus 500 pages a month, it's not a straight line fee. We understand what it costs for you to manually handle your fax and what your options are, and we are very competitively priced. And then we offer this simple user interface that provides high value for you as well. So that's a really custom conversation depending on how many documents you're sending and receiving on a regular basis. All right, let's see. A couple more questions here are coming in. Just give me a second. So I've got some concerns about not being tech savvy, and I tried to talk to that as well. But I understand, if you don't live inside systems every day, or you don't like to try new systems, the way I equate this is all of us have gotten a new cell phone sometime in the recent past, right? I don't think anybody's using a cell phone probably older than 4 or 5 years at the max, right? And it's a pain to change your cell phone. But the nice thing about transitioning with your cell phone and not being tech savvy is you've thrown that old one away and it doesn't work anymore. So you're forced to use this new one. So you spend a little bit of time on it and suddenly you realize it's got a lot more bells and whistles. It's easier to use and it's more powerful. Pretty soon you love your new phone, but there's a little bit of transition period, right? So that's how I explain this to people that aren't very tech savvy is don't worry. We've got thousands of users out there in practices using this today every single day, and you're not unique. There's every different type of tech savviness person out there, and they all find it just as easy to use as email. So we will teach you how to use it. If you still have questions, call back again. Free training and support. It's one of our biggest promises to our customers is that there's no gotchas after you become a customer. We want you to be successful. We want you to focus on taking care of the patient. Still some questions coming in here. So a couple questions about the difference between the integrated and non-integrated solutions. So really the major difference between integrated and non-integrated solutions are the ease of sending the information, the outbound fax, to two places at once. So in an integrated fashion, I could send it to a patient portal if you also have the portal solution. I could send it to the patient portal. I could send an outbound fax to a third-party destination. I could tag the physician, and I could send it to the patient chart all in one click. What you don't get when you're non-integrated is you don't get that seamless ability to send that digital information directly into your patient chart. So what you do is you can save that to a box or a folder on your desktop. You can name it in a way in which, maybe once or twice a day you go into that folder and you pick up those files and you add them to the chart depending on which EMR you're using, and you kind of do a maintenance cleanup. But that still simplifies probably what you're using today. It's just not one click. There's a two-step process there. So that's the major difference between integrated and not integrated. A couple questions about fax numbers are coming in. So yes, you do keep your same fax number, or you can get a new one. It's up to you. You can either forward your fax number or completely port it over. And the portability of your fax number is completely dependent on your current fax number provider. So occasionally we will work with certain fax providers that refuse to port their number over to our handling system. And in that case, you could either just forward your number, but you'd have to stay with them, or you could get a new fax number. But yes, most of the time, I'd say in the vast majority, you keep the same fax number and port it over. Let me read this question here. So great question here about whether we're using our own IP or whether we're using a third-party vendor. So Updox has a very big technology team that has built our solutions from scratch. So we manage our databases, our integrations, all of our code development, and all of our own proprietary information. And that is why we've got the reputation in our industry for being such a major platform first mover, because we've built the technology from scratch. Our founders have been in the healthcare industry for a very long time, really saw this this gap coming in the industry as the new regulations started to change with meaningful use, and decided to not just meet the regulation, which is a lot of times what is the minimum set requirement that is delivered upon by some of the applications out there in the market, but meet the regulations and then think about how do providers and office managers and patients really need to share information in a very helpful way. And so we've kind of consumerized this process in this industry by thinking through that process and delivering an application that does everything you need it to, not just the minimum. So yes, everything is our own code, our own IPs. I hope that answers your question. And so a couple last questions here. This last one is, can we separate different reports coming through in different orders to send them to different folders within our patient chart? So the answer is typically yes. So depending on which EMR provider you're using, depending how our integration works with them, our system has the ability to, again, pick different results from different inbound receipts or outbound receipts, put those back together and send those to certain locations. We have the ability to tag or categorize depending on which EMR we're working with. Definitely a great question for one of our sales team to walk you through. If you give them a very specific scenario, I'm using screenshots because, again, we're doing a webinar. But when you call in and you get a demo from our team, they'll show you, they'll bring up a live working test application, and we have connections and test databases with most of our EMR partners as well. So they'll be able to show you exactly how you'd be able to handle your use case there that you're talking about. All right, so one more question, and then we'll get wrapped up. And if we didn't get to our questions, I'm sorry, they're kind of streaming in, and we're kind of getting on the back half of our time here. Well, the last one is, how do you get a demo? Great question. So again, head to updox.com, or I think the screen is still visible to everybody. We've either call our phone number, send us an email with your contact information and how you'd like to do a demo and when. We'll get you scheduled, and we'll get a lot more information in front of you so you can see, feel, and ask questions about how the application works for you. So with that, if you did have questions that I didn't get to, or there are duplicates, or I didn't specifically ask your question, your questions do come through on the GoToWebinar. We'll reach back out to you and make sure that we've answered all of these questions. Really appreciate everyone's time, and happy spring out there to everyone. We hope to talk to you soon. Thanks. Take care.